The thing about deck building is like you gotta understand the game a lot more than like just understanding how to play a deck. Because when you're building a deck, you must have a lot more game knowledge because it's not just like, okay, I have the cards in front of me and I know which one is the right choice against this certain type of a player because he's playing, for example, control or something. So I know that I have to play in this way and things like that. But when you're building a deck that's like obviously not the same as another deck that already exists, then you're one creating something new that hasn't been probably done before, or at least you don't know that it has been done before. So you're basically looking for combos by yourself. And it's not just like, oh, well, I'm going to combine this with that just because it combines well together. It's not just about that logic. The other logic as well is like, how well does this combo work in general and how reliable is it? Because sometimes you're going to be like, well, this all combos together really well, then that's great. But maybe when you're playing versus a control deck, you're gonna always like have an advantage. But versus an aggro deck, you're basically just like completely screwed. You
Yeah.
basically have to think of so many more things than just when you're playing a deck. Because when you're building a deck, it's not just about combos. It's not just about having like reliable deck like that can every single game give the similar answers or similar um, productivity. I don't know how to explain it in a different way, but you also have to understand that you have to be able to play this deck versus all kinds of the current meta decks. So even as myself, as like, I don't know, like an experienced player or whatever, even I really have issues with building a deck as well. So for me, I would suggest you as a player that is like, even I have issues with that. So if you're not like really, really high tier master, or like a really good player that has really high understanding of the game, I would rather suggest you to look at decks that already exist and then like try to either make a variation of it, like change like 5 cards and try that out. If it doesn't work, try to change some other cards, but like stick to the similar deck or something. Because like making an entire new deck by yourself, it's really hard, trust me.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
trying to discourage you from
I know.
building decks. It's just like I'm telling you that like the deck building itself, if you want to make it reliable and good for ranked, it's gonna be really hard.
Yeah, I get that.
You either there's two things that you can do. Either you have to have high understanding of the game and you have to know which are the decks that are currently played and know how it will go against those decks. And the second option is basically like make the deck, not know the game as much, but then you have to actually play the deck many, many times, and then every single time try to understand what card here is the weakest link, remove that card, and add a card that would support you to the matchups that you were losing against, so you can actually improve the deck over time by keeping on playing and playing and playing, and every time trying to understand what's the issue in this deck, what's this a weakest card, and replace it with a card that would fit better there.